Hello and welcome to Playwrights Roundtable. I'm Erica Cotton, your host for a half-hour showcase of a 10-minute play, and then we sit back and have a discussion with the writer and director from Playwrights Roundtable. And today I have with me Arthur Jolly and Aisha Soto, the writer and the director for The Fine Print. So we're going to sit back and watch the play and then afterwards have a conversation with them about their experiences working with Playwrights Roundtable and working with The Fine Print. So sit back and enjoy the play.
It's a fairly standard contract.
I always read them until I understand them.
Oh, for God's sakes. What? I can say his name. I'm not frightened of him. Are you telling me that you read every word of your cell phone agreement?
Of course.
That's a first.
Twice.
That's anal retentive. That's what that is.
Save me from getting stuck paying for 2 years if I took the quote-unquote free replacement option in paragraph 14.
Yes, but if it takes you 2 years to read the damn thing, I fail to see any advantage.
This is my immortal soul we're talking about.
There was nothing in there about immortal soul.
Well, soul.
The contract says nothing about immortality. That would be stupid.
Which is where I run into difficulty.
What don't you get?
Well, it all seems so mundane.
You think that there should be fire and brimstone and eternal damnation?
Well, it doesn't even mention an afterlife.
Jesus Christ, you're fixating.
Would you not say his name in vain? I am not damned yet.
Say his name in vain. What does that even mean?
Here we go again.
Look, if you shout God's name, he isn't really bothered if you shout his name, or if you give him a new middle one beginning with an F. Omniscient, remember? He knows the difference between that and an intentional beseeching prayer. That's not taking his name in vain.
Then what is it?
It's nothing. It's like saying, ow, policeman. The crime, and the 10 Commandments are a list of crime. The crime is taking his name in vain. It's the same as impersonating a police officer. If you dress up as a cop, start forcing other citizens to do as you say, or finding them for speeding and pocketing the cash, that's a crime. Same thing. Pretending to be God or to speak for God, that's against the rules. Trust me, Jimmy Swaggart's gonna burn in hell. Metaphorically.
Why do I feel you're being self-serving?
Good God above, you're an irritating little man.
Then why are you so keen on getting my soul?
You're fixating on this whole soul business. It's a word. I don't even think there is a soul.
And yet?
Believe what you like. I've never seen one.
You're the devil, which leads me to 2 assumptions.
Why am I not surprised that you need to analyze it?
Firstly, your existence proves supernatural powers. If the devil can appear before me, seeking to bind me to a contract, then God must also exist. Heaven and hell, a struggle for my soul.
Man, what an ego.
And secondly, you lie. You're the prince of lies, of deceit, of trickery. I cannot believe a word you say.
So, why imagine that I'll hold to a contract?
What?
If I'm the Prince of Lies, why do you think that I'll hold to a contract? Because I signed it? I'm the devil. I'll sign my name to a dozen contracts and then wipe my red behind with them. Ooh, I'm so evil.
But you have to.
Only if I'm a man of my word. I'm not even a man.
So, why would I sign it?
Fame and fortune. That's what you wanted. People to know your name. The admiration of your peers.
In love?
We've gone over this.
Yes, you're the devil.
I will talk to her. I can't guarantee she'll sign anything. Look, you'll be rich and respected. There will be lots of opportunity. Girls will be throwing themselves at you.
I don't want girls.
You haven't even met them yet.
I want Jenny back.
Yes, but as I explained...
You can use your powers.
Free will. Look, if you have it, she has it too. You have a choice. Sign my contract, Get riches, get ahead in life? She'll have her choice too. She could be with the man she no longer loves, but is now very successful. Or not.
She left me because I wasn't ambitious enough. She said I'd never amount to anything.
So then you can prove her wrong and she'll come back, right?
She may have lied.
God, you have trust issues.
This is my soul we're talking about.
Metaphorically, heaven and hell are human creations. Fire and... Have you ever even smelled brimstone? It's not that bad. It's like being at the monkey house at the zoo. After 5 minutes, you don't even notice it. And yet, ooh, such torture. Do you think that an ethereal soul can feel fire? Can smell brimstone? A soul has a nose?
The torture is being deprived of God's love.
Well, then that would be an issue to take up with him, now wouldn't it? I don't believe in the afterlife, if there is one. I only deal in the here and now.
And I get fame and fortune?
At the cost of, let's say, your reputation. A bunch of people you'll never meet, some who haven't even been born yet, thinking you were a bad guy. Why do you care what they think?
Like Hitler.
Not quite on that scale. Ego, again.
Eichmann?
Who?
Well, he was the architect that worked out the logistics for Hitler's final solution. He figured out how to coordinate a genocide.
Oh, a man with a meticulous mind for planning. Detail-oriented?
I guess.
Probably read his contracts twice.
Well, I'm not designing a death camp for you.
Oh, and who would want you to? Besides, you're a systems engineer.
Electrical systems engineer.
Oh, exactly.
And you want me to design this circuit?
Exactly.
So mundane.
It is.
Most of it's existing product.
Shouldn't even take you that long.
There's facial recognition software in every casino in Vegas. You walk in, 2.4 seconds, they know who you are. They can pull up your driver's license.
Credit history.
Yeah.
So doable.
Well, there are advantages to it.
That's where the richest part comes in. A huge contract from the military, a systems upgrade. You'll start with a promotion. Soon you'll be head of the department.
I believe in what I do.
Oh, so do I.
Remote weapon systems save lives.
Oh, I agree. Why should we put our boys in harm's way if we don't have to?
What's your angle?
I'd like to reduce the psychological toll of warfare.
But we've been discussing that in the lab.
Think of it as a simple disconnect. Right now, there's some 19-year-old soldier guiding his Predator aircraft, or driving his remote infantry track unit, blowing the hell out of the bad guys with a joystick, all watching the events unfold through a TV monitor.
Safely.
Only physically.
But I'm proud of my work.
When he, or she in such a modern army, presses the fire button, the screen shows what?
Whatever they're shooting at.
Leading to psychological trauma? Guilt, even?
They're trained soldiers.
Oh, I know. Trained to kill, do or die. My country, right or wrong.
Our products save soldiers' lives.
At the cost of their souls.
Wait, I thought you didn't believe in souls.
I believe I said they didn't have noses. I forget. I may have lied. Remote weapon system. If a remote weapon system can eliminate a target without the soldier ever having to see them, it would make the onus on a soldier less burdensome.
But you're the devil.
I think we've established that.
So what, I design the circuit and something goes horribly wrong and...
No, I mean, you have to design it right. But if a casino in Vegas can tell exactly who you are by matching your face to a national registry of licensed drivers, don't you think that you could design a weapon system that could tell the difference between an enemy combatant and a platoon of known individuals, all issued with whatever protective backup gear you think up? It could be built into their dog tags. You could be the architect that ended the casualties of friendly fire forever. Just think, a U.S. soldier operating his remote weapon system from perfect safety, able to kill whatever man, woman, or child he's directed to without seeing one drop of blood, without seeing one human face. And I'm not talking about indiscriminate carpet bombing. I mean one shot, one kill, no named, identified human being completely removed of any humanity. Disposable. Killed without one single quiver of messy, emotional human consequence or empathy. It's the final solution.
But we're already doing that.
I know. Look at the last page.
That's my signature. But I never.
You signed your soul away years ago. I have a confession. I'm not who you think I am. He's a little more discreet. I work for the other guy.
Wait, you're in...
Don't say the A word. If you must, call me a guardian. He thought that maybe you of all people, should read the fine print.
You've just watched The Fine Print, a wonderful play written by Arthur Jolly and directed by Aisha Soto. So we'll come back after a brief intermission and talk to the both of you about the play. Sounds good? All right, stay with us. We'll be right back with The Fine Print.
Good God above, you're an irritating little man.
Then why are you so keen on getting my soul?
You're fixating on this whole soul business. It's a word. I don't even think there is a soul.
And yet?
Believe what you like. I've never seen one.
You're the devil, which...
You've just seen a quick clip from The Fine Print, a play written by Arthur Jolly and directed by Aisha Soto. Again, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Let's start with you, Arthur, and your inspiration for this piece.
The inspiration, it comes from several different places. One of the things I've analyzed a lot in a lot of the things I've written is the question of guilt and where it stops and where it starts, and where you can say, that's not my fault, I had nothing to do with that. I have a short piece called The Bricklayer, which is about a guy who's building a chimney, a brick chimney, and talking to his son and saying, you can't just think of it as a brick, you have to step back and look at the whole picture and see that it's all part of something bigger. And then at the end, you find out that he's building the chimneys at Auschwitz. And you sort of realize he's going to look back and say, I was a part of that, and does it matter if you don't know at the time? So the same thing with designing a circuit. Someone is building these weapons. You know, I always find it fascinating to think, is that someone that ever stops to think, what are they being used for, and am I willing to accept responsibility for that, even though I'm not the one pulling the trigger? I think that's a fascinating subject.
So you do take some time to do a little backstory on the subject matter and the characters as you're developing a play, even for something this short?
Just, I mean, the 10-minute play, it's still a play, and just because it's 10 minutes, you can still put as much depth and as much detail if you want to. You can also, you know, write a little 10-minute fun piece and put it out there, but there's nothing to stop you putting everything into it that you want to put into it. You just have to learn to be really concise.
Were you initially starting off with the idea of the devil or the other, the angel?
The angel, the reveal at the end.
Is that how you began the piece?
No, I very rarely know where they're going to end up. I like it when the characters surprise me, and at the end, like, oh, I'm not, yeah, that was as much a surprise to me writing as it was to anyone who's watching it.
Aisha, this is your second opportunity working
Yes.
with playwrights and as a director. What was it like working with this play? And let's just go through the selection process with how you got involved with this particular play and then picking the actors.
Well, I know Chuck. I've known Chuck for quite a while now, and he sent a submission out via email asking if we were interested in directing, and of course I picked up the opportunity in a heartbeat. Read over several of the other productions, and this one just kind of talked to me, which is usually what scripts do, especially to a director. There was something that just connected. I love the hidden messages, the hidden meaning behind a lot of the script, which is kind of what I played around with the characters and developing the actors. The audition process was very typical audition process. But the two actors that I chose, they were a great fit for the part. Tara just, to me, screamed the role physically, I think. And I loved playing with the fact that she was a woman playing a male role. You know, I'm all about that cross-gender when it comes to characters and acting. And then Christian just had a very interesting, unique character trait that he was able to bring to this role. So I thought the both together did a dynamic job.
Well, you said that the play spoke to you. What, or if you can recall, were some of those moments that really got to you and you couldn't wait to see them evolve as a director?
I think towards the end is where you hit a major climactic point for this particular production. And when he sees that what she's been trying to hint at all along, he's already been doing as far as building this piece of weaponry. And the guilt and the confusion and all the emotions that he's going through at that particular moment and having to decide, what do I do next? Do I continue to do it, or do I choose a different path? And in my mind, I had him actually have a choice as opposed to just giving him the end result. So I allowed the character to choose what he wanted to do, and I thought it was great for him to actually choose a greater path and leave what he was doing behind. So.
As the writer, and we should mention that you are not a Floridian, you are a resident of California, Los Angeles. The process of working with someone from that long distance, how was that for you, and how much interaction did the two of you have?
Remarkably little, which is one of the nice things about writing. So you write it, you send it off, and you know, I'm always open to directors that call or email and are like, I'm not sure about this, or I want to know more about what's going on with the character at this moment. But it is a collaborative art, and at some point you have to let it go and let someone put a new take on it. And seeing it with a woman playing that role just adds a whole new layer to it, and it's something that I was always open to. When I wrote it, I had seen that this could be played either, you know, with either gender, but it's, the last production of it was two identical twin brothers, and that having the devil and Archie look exactly the same played up one aspect of it, but having them very different in gender, in look, I think it's just another way of looking at it. So in situations like that, you just sit back and let the director run with it.
Start with the promotion. Soon you'll be head of the department.
I believe in what I do.
Oh, so do I.
Remote weapon systems save lives.
Oh, I agree. Why should we put our boys in harm's way if we don't have to?
What's your angle?
I'd like to reduce the psychological toll of warfare.
This was your first time with PRT.
It was.
What was your experience like?
I couldn't be happier. I think it's a great great production and a great group of people, sort of really a committed community. I was talking with Charles earlier, and he was saying about the directors and the writers, and I'm so pleased that there is a playwrights roundtable rather than a directors roundtable, which is what most of the others seem to be, even if they're not called
Okay.
that. Nothing against directors.
No, it's fine.
And we should mention that you found it through the internet. So there you have it. Power of the internet. It does
absolutely.
work. Got us a writer from LA. What about you, Aisha? Your experience directing with PRT?
Well, I was able to direct with PRT 2 years ago during the summer shorts, and it was a phenomenal opportunity. Charles gave me an opportunity to direct for the first time community theater. I had directed several pieces of theater in the past, more children's theater, and so this was a nice change to play around with adult genres and work with, you know, a professional theater company, and they've been a wonderful, wonderful group to work with.
Now, as a resident of Central Florida, where do you feel, or how do you feel Playwrights Roundtable contributes to the Central Florida arts community?
I think it gives people an opportunity to work on new work, which is wonderful. Original work is always great to put out there and showcase to the public. And it also gives people an opportunity who necessarily are trying to break into, you know, the theater world within Central Florida area, who might not be within union or who might not be, you know, years and years into the profession and who are just trying to start their particular career within the professional theater world here in Central Florida. So they gave a phenomenal opportunity to me to do that.
That's very good. Arthur, how long have you been writing, and any words of wisdom for someone aspiring to do this type of format?
I've been writing my whole life. I've seriously, writing full-time about 5 years. And 5 years ago, I saw a little thing on the internet for a 10-minute play festival and thought, well, I can write a 10-minute play. 10 minutes, how hard can that be? Wrote one and sent it off, and fortunately it got produced, so I was inspired to keep writing. But absolutely, I mean, my only advice would be to try it, because until you start writing, you don't know whether you can or not. You're probably not going to be able to write off the bat. It takes time, but then no one played the violin first time either. But you will never write unless you start, so pick up a pen.
Absolutely, and you're also a screenwriter.
Yes.
As well. Tell our viewers a little bit about the difference between the two.
As in terms of writing between the two, I mean, there are lots of differences. In screenplays, you're going to have very little creative control, and in plays, they will actually pay attention to your words and do them right, which is nice because it allows you to write a line that might be challenging or difficult the first time you read it, and then when you analyze it and spend the time with it, you realize, oh, it means this, that it can only be said this one way for this one reason. And in screenplays, they'll cross that out and put in something easier before they even get to that, which is a tool and a power. I think the main difference between them is structure, that in a screenplay, there's a very basic screenplay structure, and you can always go back to it if you get lost. And with plays, it is so much more open. There's so much more that you can do. I've likened it in the past to playing a 12-bar blues progression or playing freeform jazz, that because there is so much you can do, it can be a little daunting. But there's so much more you can do with it. So I love playwriting.
Wonderful. Some final words. What inspires you, and either one of you can answer this question, as an artist, as a writer, and where do you see the future of playwriting going?
Well, as a director, what inspires me is the script. I have to connect with the script. If I don't emotionally connect to it as an artist, as a director, I can't produce it. There has to be something that I personally can find relation to whatever is happening within the story, within the characters. And then from there, the words just lay themselves out and each scene just opens up to me. I have a visual of what's on paper. It immediately becomes a part of my mind, and I lay it out through the actors, and usually I have phenomenal actors that I'm working with.
And what do you see as the future here in Central Florida with the theater community?
Oh, I definitely see it blossoming and growing. I think Central Florida has a lot of opportunity here, and with a group like Playwrights Roundtable offering its doors and opening its doors to new artists, new directors, new writers, I think it's just going to continue to grow. Absolutely.
Very good. And Arthur, what inspires you?
Life, anything, everything, generally anything that affects you emotionally. If you get really annoyed about something, that's generally, there's a play in that somewhere. Things that are tragic and make you weep are generally going to give you something really funny. Looking back on something that was just horrific at the moment, there's a funny play in there.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's probably very true. And where do you see the future of playwriting going these days?
I think especially now that there is the internet, that there's a way that someone in LA can get a play produced in Florida and vice versa, that it really just does open up all kinds of doorways to hearing different viewpoints and seeing work that you might not have seen or might not have been aware of. We all get a chance to share with each other, which is what playwriting is all about in the first place.
Very true, very insightful. Thank you both for joining us. And Arthur, thank you for catching the red eye to come to Central Florida.
Yeah, I hope I wasn't too out of it.
Oh, not at all. Aisha, thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
and we enjoyed the fine print. I hope you enjoyed this presentation of Playwrights Roundtable. We'll see you again soon. Take care. Playwrights Roundtable provides opportunities for authors to have their work read by professional actors. Members of Playwrights Roundtable have seen their works go from cold readings to workshop productions and on to successful full productions. If you love the craft, Playwrights Roundtable is the place. For more information, contact Playwrights Roundtable at 407-788-8468 or check out the website www.playwrightsroundtable.org.